Hello everyone, welcome back to Navellier Market Buzz, episode 18. I'm Crystal Navellier and I'm joined again this week with my father, Louis Navellier. We hope you all enjoyed the holidays, and while we're all gearing up for the New Year's, Dad, can you explain the January effect?
Yeah, that's typically where we surge because of all the new pension funding pouring into the market. Now, this year is going to be a little odd because New Year's is on a Wednesday, so the Thursday and Friday is still going to be kind of holiday trading. So it's going to be the following Monday. It's going to be more important. We have what we call the B team in charge of Wall Street right now. The A team's at a ski resort somewhere, and so let's not overreact on January 2nd and 3rd on how the market does. Let's see how it does the following Monday, which I believe is the 6th, and that's going to be much more important, in my opinion.
And there's that saying that whatever happens in January goes for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's true. You have some charts you're showing that demonstrate that, but especially the first 5 trading days of January are very, very important. I've seen some years where the first day kind of stalls and the second day explodes. So the first 5 days are very important, and believe it or not, as January goes, the year tends to go. January's a seasonally strong month, and everybody wants to get off to a good start for the new year.
Now, before we get into some of your best stock picks for the new year, can you explain who are the bond vigilantes?
Well, that is probably going to be the most disruptive force right now. What happened is on December 6th, the 10-year Treasury yield was 4.17. As we're talking today, it's 4.63. That's a big increase. And the bond vigilantes are basically the big institutional investors that control the Treasury bond market. Now, what's going on? There's a lot of fear of tariffs causing inflation, and that's why bond yields are rising. But in all candor, bond yields should be falling because the whole world is imploding except for America. Canada's in recession. New Zealand's in a recession. Brazil's in a currency crisis. You have a chart you're going to show of what the bond vigilantes did to Brazil just in the past year, how the yields soared. A good example is China has to keep adding stimulus to keep their economy growing. They lost 2.08 million people in 2023. We'll see how many people they lost in 2024, probably at least another 2+ million. And Europe is not only in a recession, it's headless. Okay, its two biggest economies, Germany and France, are in the midst of not only a recession but political chaos. Germany's going to have an election, and what happened over there is the Greens destroyed their industry. You can't have a manufacturing economy with expensive electricity. So the Greens did want to have green energy, but it's just tough for Germany. They're up high. They're up like Canada, and solar doesn't work quite as well when the sun doesn't shine in the winter months, and they do have wind, but they were dependent upon that cheap Russian natural gas, and that's gone now, and so they are really there's been a lot of layoffs, a lot of plant closures, mostly the automotive suppliers. But it looks very dire right now. And then, of course, France, their parliament is controlled by Marine Le Pen, the National Party. She works with the French Prime Minister, not the president, the Prime Minister, to get the budget. And whatever Macron wants is not going to happen. And who's the president, of course. Prime Minister resigned, and he's getting a new one for Marine Le Pen to work with. But total chaos right now in Europe. And the European Central Bank is going to be cutting rates an additional 4 to 5 times next year, 2025, and that should cause their bond yields to collapse. That should cause our yields to come down. But right now, the bond vigilantes are party poopers, I think is the best way to explain them. They are just hell bent to push this narrative that tariffs are inflationary, even though we had no evidence of that in Trump's first term, or when Biden was obviously raising tariffs. It's a false narrative. And also the currency is so strong. The U.S. dollar is very strong. So everything we import is getting cheaper. So if anything, the strong dollar is going to be deflationary. And please remember that Trump threatens these tariffs as a negotiation tactic, okay? And the biggest tariffs, of course, will be against China. But for all our other allies, he's horse trading. He wants them in a very uncomfortable position before he negotiates. And he's already triggered political uproar in Canada. You know, his comment that they could become the 51st state is actually being taken seriously in places like Alberta and Saskatchewan. And, of course, they're a little more conservative there. And so there's total chaos right now in Canada. So we're the oasis in America. And as all this foreign capital continues to pour into our bond market, it should drive yields lower. Our inflation is under 2% in major economies. It was a little higher in America because of rents and real estate costs, but those are coming down. And so we are going to be in pretty good shape, I think. So I think the bond vigilantes are set themselves up for probably one of the biggest bond rallies we'll ever see, because no one expected yields to rise in December.
Well, with that being a little bit of a buzzkill, let's lighten the mood and let's talk about your favorite stocks for 2025.
Yeah, let's talk about the monopoly stocks first. A monopoly stock is a company with obscene operating margins, minimal competition, market dominance. The first is NVIDIA. Their operating margins are 55.7% after taxes. I mean, that's ridiculous, you know. But no one can compete with them on regenerative AI chips. There are other AI competitors, but they're not regenerative AI, which is machine learning. Eli Lilly, their operating margins are now 20.5% after taxes. Obviously, they compete with Novo Nordisk, but Lilly's beating them at the weight loss drug or GLP-1 craze, for lack of a better word. Novo Nordisk, of course, still dominates diabetes medication worldwide, but Lilly's got this weight loss drug craze kind of locked in, and their new pill versions of it are testing out magnificently. So you don't necessarily have to get a shot. Oh, you can get a shot if you want one. Deckers Outdoor has 18.8% after-tax operating margins. Of course, this is a shoe company, but they have multiple brands that are doing phenomenally well. It's Hoka, is that how I pronounce it?
Hoka's, yes.
Those are running shoes, extremely comfortable shoes. Surgeons are now wearing them because they're on their feet all day. The UGG boots, UGG boots, it's ski season now. Don't you have to have fancy boots for Aspen and stuff? So that's another premium product they make. And but yeah, they're dominating the market right now. So good for them. Another one is Transdim, 18.7% after-tax operating margins. These are aviation components. Obviously, those are very specific for both military and commercial. They don't have a lot of competition, so I'm pretty excited about them. One that does have competition, which has super fat operating margins now, is Royal Caribbean, and they're 16.2% after-tax operating margins, and they keep making the boats bigger and bigger, and they're advertised to mostly youth, because I guess you just have a lot of fun on these boats. So and families, and so we'll see how long they can keep this up, you know. But I when I land in Fort Lauderdale, we fly over these boats, and the size is incredible. Axion Enterprises, 15.4% after-tax operating margins. That's the Taser. Of course, they make the body cams for the police. Now, you'd think other people could compete, but they really have carved out a nice little niche. Once you get the police and law enforcement people buying your products, it's hard to compete. So they are a very good stock that we recommend, and I think they're near monopoly right now. Another one is How Met Aerospace, 14.8% after-tax operating margins. They make products for extreme heat. And of course, they use it on fighter jets, but now increasingly space vehicles, and especially space vehicles that return. So they are super dominant. I should add that the monopolies don't last forever, but they can last 4 or 5 years. You might have seen my articles on NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA is a hold through the end of the decade. It is up to 20% of some of our client portfolios because we don't want to take profits. We're going to ride it for a long, long time, especially with the new Blackwell chip.
Now, can you talk about your small cap stocks?
Sure. Some of my favorites right now for the new year that should benefit from this January effect are Argan. It's AGX. This is going to help with the infrastructure building. I do have a lot of infrastructure stocks, but this is one that will help. Obviously, Trump wants to double the utility grid so we can power the AI revolution. And just so you understand, I mean, search on Google used to be 2% of the grid. Search that's AI enhanced is now 4% of our electric grid. So as our devices get smarter and smarter, it's going to suck more and more power. So we are going to double our electric grid, and our Argan is obviously one of the best. ELMED I really like, ELMD. Now this makes these special vests to help you breathe when you have pulmonary problems, and a lot of people have walking pneumonia right now. I actually started in Washington State of all places, but it's the winter time. It's flu season, all those things. You don't want to have a pulmonary problem. Trust me, I've had pneumonia 5 times, and that's why I drink lots of water to try to fight it. They do have pills if you do get pneumonia that are very effective, super strong antibiotics, but you have to get them immediately. I literally walk around with them in case I sense it's coming. But you don't want any pulmonary problem, and ELMD, ELMED is a great small cap stock. We love Powell Industries. They help with all the offshore rigs, and they are also helping with the infrastructure, building out our electric grid. This is a very exciting stock, phenomenal buy right now, POWL. A couple of stocks I'm going to talk about help the consumer that are struggling with paying for things. We've had favorable reports this holiday season. MasterCard said spending was up 3.8% from November 1st through December 24th. But a lot of people can't pay their credit card bills. But Payments Holdings, PAY, and Sezzle, SEZL, are companies that offer payment plans or flexible pay for certain types of consumers. And whether we like it or not, there's just always some people that need this kind of help. And finally, we love Revolve Group, RVLV. That's a stock we've talked about quite a bit. Very exciting premium online retailer. So did you get your New Year's dress from Revolve Group yet?
Of course.
There you go. Okay, so obviously you can look fabulous if you shop there, but you're the expert, not me. So.
Yes.
So,
well,
okay.
Thank you so much for giving us all these wonderful stocks, and thank you to you all for watching, liking, and subscribing. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. But Happy New Year, everyone, and we'll see you all in the new year.
Thanks, everybody.